Okay, welcome to holding space for your class, whether it's a bump or baby class. We've got a variety of people here already doing antenatal and postnatal things. So that's what we're looking at today. So this is a picture of me doing home birth group, and you see me there in the left-hand corner. It's one of the things. Let me move on. Just to say, why am I doing this? What does she know about holding space? So I run workshops, courses, retreats for parents from pregnancy right through to grandparenting. And this is me on holiday in South Devon. And I now train facilitators. So I've got a wide range of experience of facilitating small groups over the last couple of decades. So that baby in the press release there, he's 21 now. I was teaching pregnancy relaxation classes. I've done baby massage. I didn't do baby yoga, I'm not flexible enough, but baby signing, singing, sling workshops, parenting. I'm trained to deliver a number of parenting courses, and I used to manage a Short Start Children's Centre, so I was running breastfeeding drop-ins, and I've done starting solids and toileting and a whole range of things, and home birth and water birth and workshops and stuff like that. So that's yeah, and one of the things, and I do retreats, and one of the things people say that I hold space so well. So I did a weekend retreat last year, first time doing a weekend retreat, and one of my cousins came, and she's like a occupational psychologist, so I was a bit nervous about having her there because I'm like, what's she going to say? But actually she really enjoyed it, and she's booked on again to come this year, and she said yes, that I hold space well. So I'm hoping that and I'm sure you probably do hold space well yourself, but you might not feel very confident about it. I was saying in the chat that you may get some tips out of this evening, but you may what you may get out of it is just the reassurance that you are doing a good job. Sometimes you think, am I doing it right? So I'm sure you are, but let's have, this is, if you go to menti.com and enter that code, you will then hopefully be able to, it might not be working, so I've got to set the voting. Let me just put this. You'll be able to see it in a minute. I'm going to go here. Sometimes it says voting not. Right. Yes, so you should be able to move a blue dot over and onto where you feel you are and how confident you are feeling. Is it letting you do that? No. Right, it should be. Let me move these. So I closed it and opened it again. Let me put this, I'll copy this link and put it in the chat. We'll try that. There's a chat. You don't need a gap in the code. That's the other thing. Has anybody managed to get in? I've not had this before. No. Okay. Well, that's okay. We will do it another way. Don't worry about Menti then. What we can do you can, if you go to the menu bar for Zoom, you can find the annotate and you can select a stamp. So a heart or a star perhaps. So I'm going to select, and I've put a stamp in the yes, I feel confident. I'm now feeling slightly less confident as that activity didn't work, but can you find the annotation? You should be able to. Let me find the annotate. You can see, oh, Sarah, I can see Sarah there. Monty's done it. And Sarah. So you're looking for the stamp next to, we're getting a few. Perhaps if you haven't been able to do the stamp thing, then if we say that yes in the middle, yes, you feel confident, that's oh great, you've got a dot there, Sarah, that's brilliant. You can say yes is a 5, red is a 4, blue is a 3, black is a 2, and grey is a 1. You can put it in the chat. So we got mostly feeling fairly confident, so that's great. I just thought we'd take temperature, as it were, of how people are feeling. Brilliant, thank you. And Kat's saying she's a 2, lovely. Right. I like this quote, that learning is not the product of teaching, learning is the product of the activity of the learners. I love the picture too. And that's what we like today. I'm here to help you learn, and not, I'm just going to clear all the drawings. There we are. And that's what you're trying to do, with whether it's your slings, baby massage, hypnobirthing. The aim is not for you to get through the content, but for the people to go away having learned something. And what we do is we facilitate that. And I like, facilitator is a personal thing that makes an action or process easy or easier. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help our clients, the people that come to our classes, our groups. We're trying to make it easier for them, whatever it is, whether it's learning how to massage your baby. And of course, baby massage isn't just about massaging your baby, is it? It's about developing that relationship and having tools. So I'm going to ask you now, what are the challenges, or what do you think is the hardest thing about facilitating small groups? And I'm going to use the whiteboard now to so you can either just call it out, or you can just call it out, or you can put it in the chat. What do you find some of the challenges? Yeah, giving everyone speak. Challenging subjects. quiet groups. I need to move. Yeah. They're absolutely, when I've got, I said in the thing, I'm going to do scenarios, and some of these are absolutely the scenarios that that I have. Yeah. Conflict. Yeah, and the and it can be sometimes just people with conflicting views, isn't it? And conflicting approaches, rather than, yeah, is that the sort of thing you mean, Joe? Yeah. Brilliant. So hopefully we're going to look at some of those things today. I'm going to save that. Oh, I don't know why it's gone black, but right. Come back to. So what does holding space mean? Do you want to put in the chat again what you think? What does it mean to you, holding space? And we've said some things already, haven't we? That making sure that everyone has a voice and giving everyone a chance to speak, and without judgment. Yes. Yeah. But being in a safe environment, making everyone feel comfortable, and facilitating a safe space for people to feel confident and welcomed. Yes, lovely. Secure. Yeah, safety has to be the first one, doesn't it? So this is what I was thinking about. Absolutely, just what you've said, really, that people feel safe. They feel that they can relax. They feel accepted for who they are, as they are. That their expectations are met, because they can be really, you know, if you've been going somewhere and you're not sure what the expectations are, that can be a bit nerve-wracking. Or if you get there and actually it's not what you thought it was going to be. And that people engage at a level they feel comfortable with. So if they want to have a voice, sometimes people are very happy not to have a voice and just want to take it all in. And so we need to let people be comfortable with that, and that they can express themselves if they want in a way that is comfortable for them. Does that sound what it's pretty much what you all said anyway? And I like to say, it's not about what us doing, it's about them doing. We are facilitating their learning, their interactions, and what they're going to get out of it. So this is what we then need to think about. So what we need to think about, what makes people feel safe. We need to think about what worries do parents or parents to be have about coming. So what have they, you know, what are they worrying about in advance, and how can you meet those? Whether are they worrying about parking? Are they worrying about what will they do with their buggy? Are they worrying that their child's going to be noisy, or that they are breastfeeding or bottle feeding? Are they going to worry about all those sorts of things? If we did it, we could do a brainstorm if we had more time, but anyway, we don't need to, because and it's worth thinking about, particularly your venues though, about what might be the worries people have about those specific venues, or about your specific activity, what are the myths that people have, and you can address those in blogs or lives. You can have a frequently asked questions section on your website that addresses some of those worries, because they are some of the barriers. They're some of the things that put them off. It's worth thinking about what other things might put them off coming, and that's asking for feedback. You can find out, you know, say to people, it's lovely you're here, was there anything that almost put you off coming? So you can find out, you can then find out, or even asking a question is a really good way to get interaction on social media anyway, asking questions or emails. If you were saying, you know, if you were a new mum or expectant parent, what might put you off coming to the sling thing or the so ask these questions, because we can think of things and other people think of different things. And then think about what things might put them off coming back. And that could be a really hard one. But you could probably think of some general ones. But that's something to then also to ask people who don't come back. And, you know, without no judgment, you know, I know you came one time, you didn't come back for the baby massage, which is absolutely fine. And, you know, just helped me to learn, was there anything that put you off coming back? And then think, so what we're thinking about the pull and push factors. So what are the things that might encourage them to come back? And think about what you can do. Any questions on that? Any thoughts? Going to move. So these, we're going to move the top tips, because we are just a short session. So the first thing is to set expectations. So you're giving them information beforehand, and you want to do it without overloading them, which is always the challenge. And that's why having things like a frequently asked questions, or just thinking about how you can answer those and being quite clear and keeping the waffle down. I hope you found that you knew what to expect from today, from the emails that I sent. But even it starts with your advert, you know, what your advert is, what your Facebook, what your website says, then on your emails and your communications, and you can drip that information. So when they book on, you can say, this is, well, thank you for booking on. I will be, these are a reminder of the times and dates. I will be in touch. And then you can give them a, it's starting next, we're going, you know, it's starting in next week. These are some things that you might find, or these are some benefits of baby massage, or these are some things you might find useful to get ready. And then you can do another one. Here are your, you know, a few days later, here are your arrival tips. This is where to park. This is where to, and even another reminder, a short one. It's on today, don't forget your towel, that sort of thing. And being prepared for them. Oh, the other one, setting expectations. Ask if there is anything they need to help them to access. So ask that in as many emails as you can. Please let me know if you anything that you need to have access. If you are upstairs, then make sure that you put that in the information. You know, things that might be useful for you to know. There's no parking, please park in this place. Where the disabled parking is, this is, we're up a flight of stairs, and where you can park buggies, but thinking about things that they might need to help them to access it. Obviously, welcome, being prepared for them and having a welcoming environment. I think one of the most important things is, so talking about people feeling safe, is to tell them what to do when they come in, not without doing a long thing. Basically, if you want to find a seat, put your coat over there, your bag over there. If you need the loo, it's in there. And that's pretty much the 3 things that they need to do is what do I need to do first? Where are the toilets? And where do I put my stuff? And so then they can go, okay, and then they can settle themselves down, and then you can do a bit more of a, you know, where have you come from or whatever you want to chat. Think about what are you going to do while you're waiting for other people as well. So, and encouraging, if that, you know, empowering them. So it's nice to be welcomed with a drink, but it can feel quite empowering is to say, you can go and help yourself to a drink. And then keeping them safe. So we talked about, that was one of the things that came up quite a lot in what you were saying. And so being alert does help people. You're holding space for them if they feel safe. Being open. Your open body language, open questions, and being open also means being flexible to the vibe of the group. So you may have a group that isn't very chatty, or is very chatty, or a group that seems to be gelling well, a group that isn't. So you know, a group that needs to give more instruction to, or going over things more, whereas other groups it seems to fly. You may have groups with crying babies or sessions with crying babies. So you just need to be flexible in what you're delivering and change. We're going to do some examples of that in a bit. Noticing other people's body language and who might need support. So it's worth having a think at the end of a session and thinking, was there anybody that I feel needs a bit more, might need some more support, or a follow-up email, or a little message? Sometimes it's lovely to see you. And do you feel happy with how it went? Or do you know, you'll probably think of a way to put it, but or catching people. Some people need to talk at the end, don't they? And so feeling like, but you might need to pack up. So you saying like, I'm very happy for you to, you know, do carry on talking. I am just going to pack away while you talk to me. And that's fine, because you've got times, haven't you? So that's absolutely fine. Some people just need to talk. If you find it's the same person every week, then you can start giving them a job. And it could just be they want the company, or they're building up confidence to talk to you about something else. And obviously, this is where if you were observing and noticing the body language comes in with as well, and being flexible with how your session is going, and whether you need to hurry it up, slow it down, go over things. You've got a lot of skills probably from doing that. You do this already. Being non-judgmental and non-directive, it's probably came up in your training. And so we not singling people out for correction or praise. So being really careful, going, oh, I love your baby's always dressed so beautifully, might make that mum feel great, might make the mum sat next to her feel absolutely lousy, because you never say that to her. So it's not just about pointing out, you know, obviously you wouldn't say, oh no, you're doing that. No, you've got that sling all wrong, that baby, you're doing that baby massage stroke wrong. You find other ways of saying it. Some people find it's a little bit easier that if you have this, or does that feel comfortable to you? I think putting things back to other people, putting things back to them, how does that feel for you? Is there anywhere that doesn't feel comfortable, or is there any and with anything that you would like to, feel it could be, do you have any ideas? And sometimes winding that out to the group as well, saying, does anybody else have any ideas? And trying to use a third imaginary person, so can be helpful. So and that was something else I was going to say. Yeah, being careful not to make assumptions. Just because somebody is quiet doesn't mean to say they're not enjoying it, not getting a lot out of it, or haven't got things to say. And just be really careful about making judgments about, who people live with or anything else like that. Watch your language to be inclusive language. And if people, try and keep an open and loving attitude, because we might find that somebody comes across as being brusque or a little bit rude, and they just might be really, really sleep deprived. Or just the way, you can change. People can soften in welcoming groups. One of the hardest things I think about, and I struggle the most with, is actually giving people the space to participate. We've got all this stuff in our heads and we just want to get it out and share it all and make sure everybody knows all of the amazing stuff that we know, because it's so amazing and interesting. And sometimes we need to hold back. The best, most spine-tingling sessions I've had have been where I haven't said as much and other people have been sharing, and just being able to come in with the odd word or example, being able to back stuff up and say, do you know, you're absolutely right, there's good evidence behind that. So giving people the space if they want to, but also not expecting people to take part. And that's, there we are, goes on to trust the group, giving people space and opportunities. So sometimes we need to give people opportunities by not doing things in a big group, by doing things in pairs or threes. So then if one person's quiet, then the other two can talk and the third person can just nod. Yeah, sometimes we need to proverbially sit on our hands as it can't cover our mouth, and it's amazing, because you've already done all the expectation stuff you did at the beginning on your website and all the emails beforehand. They already know the atmosphere before they come, so they can be more reassured. Those that will speak out will not always, but you can almost trust the group to respond. I don't know if you have found that. Monty's nodding a bit, I think. But sometimes you just need to trust the group and to trust yourself that you will make mistakes, and you'll go away going, oh, do you know, I did that wrong. I should have, she wanted to say something and I spoke over her, or I think I cut that person short, or I didn't really respond as positively to that thing. But we all do it, and it probably won't be as bad as you think. And sometimes you just have a really difficult group. It doesn't, you've all been running sessions. Some groups are quiet, some groups are noisy, some groups it just doesn't seem to work, or some weeks just don't seem to work. But you don't know the impact that you're having, and you will find that some of the things that you say and do, people will remember for years to come. This is the last bit now. Makes a difference if you enjoy it, because the group will mirror this. Smiling, open body, try and breathe and relax. It's a bit like the swan thing. looking like you're gliding on top, even though you're paddling away underneath, they won't know what you've forgotten. That's the other thing to remember, is that, you know, we do these things and then we're thinking, I forgot to say that, but they don't know. And you can always follow things up in an email. Say, oh, forgot to say this, or I said that, and actually that was wrong because I forgot to say not, or yeah, follow it up. That's fine. And welcome feedback. See it as a way of learning and improving. It's criticism and negative things are so useful. I often say to people I'm doing feedback, give me the things, tell me the things that didn't work, because I want to know. They're the things I want to know. It's nice to have the positives. And don't worry about not being perfect, because it is reassuring. Hopefully you were all reassured and not too annoyed that the Menti wouldn't work and thinking, oh, it even doesn't work for Kathy either. So and lastly, look after yourself. You know, you'd just like with what you say to parents, they are better able to care for their babies, their children, if they have filled up their emotional cup, if they're not too tired. And so it's the same, you're looking after your groups, so make sure that you have that time. There are probably lots of other things, but these are the key things for me, that what I try and do. How did you find all those ideas? Have some nods or some thumbs up, or yes, lovely, thank you. Right, thank you. Good. And hopefully it's a reassurance as well, and that you probably do all these things. Let's have a look at some scenarios. Okay. I thought of some of the trickier things that I've done. You can put your mics on, or you can put in the chat for this bit. So I bet you've all had a very chatty group. Keep going off topic, taking up time. So we're looking at phrases that you might be able to use, non-directive tactics or strategies that can bring them back, and dealing with your own stress. How can you deal with your own stress? So does anybody want to start us off with a phrase or a tactic for a chatty group? We've been really quiet again. We come to learn from you, Kathy. It's tricky. Obviously, depends on what it does really depend on what activity you're doing. You can say things like, oh, we're ready to move on to the next topic. You can, yeah, Monsi said, ask a question. So you can ask a question, you can do something. So like if they've been doing a card sort activity, you can go around and start gathering them up or handing out the next one. You can just, sometimes it's just a couple of people, you can just get started. You could write something on your whiteboard, or whatever, if you've got one with you. And things like, if we're all ready to move on, I'd like to go on to the next activity now, because I'd like to go on to the next activity so we can finish on time. You get your passive aggression on. And so yes, or the other thing is always a useful thing is, I'm going to put you into pairs now, or into threes, and get them onto the next activity that way. That can be a really useful thing, because then you are, so if you two do this, you two do that, you three do that, then you're instantly breaking up that that chat. Right, dealing with our own stress though, because you can just feel the whole hour and a half slipping away and you haven't got on to what you wanted to do. How can you deal with your own stress? Because this is the hardest thing, because actually, does it matter if they're very chatty? It might be that some people are not going to enjoy it them being chatty because they're not chatty and they want to move on. So you know, but sometimes people are very happy to be chatty if you're doing something for a group of friends, and so it's your own stress really that yes, recap what's been done so far. Yes, just don't do some things. You might not get through everything. Thank them for being chatty and getting the conversation going. I love that. Thank you. Bring them back to the topic. And also, yeah, if you don't get through everything, or you can shorten, just think in your head, this is about being flexible. I'm going to shorten that activity. I'm not going to do that. I'll just send them an email with a link. You know, you can adapt it. And breathe. And very quiet group, nobody contributing. What can you do? We've all had that. Start with close questions in case they're too shy to talk. Yep, absolutely. Have a range of activities, so not all of them are talking as well. So because people can contribute by, if you're doing a card sort or something, then you know they can contribute by taking part in that, or putting things in places. You know, come up and put a ball in where you think, to like vote for what you think, or getting people walking around and writing on flip chart bits on paper on tables or on walls. So introducing some movement and some activity that doesn't involve talking. Post-it notes, getting people to write on post-it notes, and either gathering them back up or getting people to put those post-it notes on things. And you can do that. We've used a range of things today in Zoom as well. If you're doing stuff online, there are a range of ways that you can do that. And post-it notes can be really good if you have a very big group, so you can always gather it all in, and while they're doing the next activity, have a quick read through. The target, I've done that very successfully in person, where I've put the target on a piece of flip chart paper and then asked people to write one of their worries down and put it down in whether they feel confident or unconfident. And so that way they were giving me their worries, but also they were telling me how confident they were feeling or not. And then at the end, I gathered all those, took a photograph, gathered those all in, and we then sorted the worries out into groups so that we could then talk about that. And then I left the target up, so at the end I asked people to put down on a post-it note something they got from the how they found the session or something they were taking away from the session, and then put it how they felt on how confident they were feeling about it now. And so then I could take a photograph of that, and I had the feedback, but also I had could see a change in how they were doing from the beginning to the end. Nobody contributing. The other thing is put them in pairs. Again, sometimes people don't want to be talking in a group, and the group doesn't have to feedback. People don't have to comment, or they don't have to contribute. They don't have to engage if they don't want to. And that's not a reflection on you as a facilitator if they don't. As I said right at the beginning, they might just be somebody who wants to take it all in. Okay, there have been a lot of disruptions, nappy changes, babies crying, people coming in late, leaving, people, you know, the coffee wasn't working, the I wouldn't say overhead projector, that's how old I am, the tech wasn't working, all sorts of things, and loads of disruptions, and you just haven't got through anywhere near what you were hoping to get through. What can you do? Yes, as Joe said, be flexible, go with the flow. Yeah, breathe. These things happen. Just try and, if you start getting all stressed by it, then they are going to pick up on that and not feel comfortable. The most important thing is that they are feeling safe and relaxed. So make a joke of it. Have a bit of humor. And think about, right, I'm going to be flexible, I'm going to cut things short, I'm going to send people links, get them to do a task, set them a homework task that covers some of it, or pick it up again next time. Right, grandparents. I hope you have grandparents. I would say welcome the grandparents. I love having the grandparents. My experience, grandparents are a boon, because the fact they're there, come to your session, means that they're supportive. And generally my experience has been that they have been fascinated, and they understand things change. I don't know, have you had experience of having grandparents at your sessions? There is a really nice, I'll try and send it to you, there's a great organization. It's an American organization, because it's called 0 to 3, and it's all about we do 0 to 2, don't we? The 1001 days, and they have a so it's all brain development and stuff, but they have a leaflet for grandparents about how things have changed, and it goes through like sleep, feeding, general behavior stuff. So I will send the grandparents thing to you. I'll make a note. I'm just making a note of that, because otherwise I forget. Yeah. And Monty said she was really supportive and part of the group. So when grandparents come, you have sort of two options. You can go welcome them and welcome their expertise, and actually specifically make sure they have an opportunity to introduce themselves. And just like you would if it was partners, we don't just let don't we always, even if the woman or the person who's pregnant is the one that answers the question and she introduces their partner, it's always good to say to the partner, did you have any questions? If you're doing that's part of the thing. And the same with grandparents is, if you get worried that they're going to say something negative, you'll close up. If you can be open and welcoming them, and specifically say, would you like to introduce yourself? It's really lovely to have grandparents to come, because it's just so supportive, and I'm sure you've got lots of wisdom to share, and then they become your ally. One of the more challenging ones is the last one. Sometimes when you have people come, you go, well, I did it with my older child and they're fine. Or you might just be aware, they might go, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, if I'd known that. Oh, I wish I'd known that, I'd have done it differently. So how can you, whether it's somebody who's very happy with how things went, or whether it's somebody who's feeling guilty, how could you support them? Yeah, all the stuff we talked about, all the expectation stuff that comes in. and at the beginning. And you can address it. You can say, you know, you may learn things today that are different from what you've done with older children, what you've seen or heard, or what you thought you were going to do. And I always say to my baby, starting solids, is I don't mind whether you feed your baby baby rice at 4 months, or whether you do baby-led weaning, because it's not about me, it's about you, it's about what you want to do. So it's your baby. And so setting that that you, and sometimes they have people at the beginning and you go around and say, oh, you know, do you want to tell us what your questions about starting solids, or if you've got any what questions you want to have, if you've started already or got any thoughts about it. And so we quite often get people saying, oh yeah, I've started already, and they're loving it. And so you say, oh, that's great, I'm really pleased they're loving it. What we're going to cover today will also be help you to move on, and then be a bit more careful when you're talking about the differences. And I try and be very fair and say, you know, some people will want to start before the signs of readiness, and that's what they want to do with their child. It's the same with the toileting. I remember somebody just saying, I'm really worried because my eldest one, they were for 18 months and they started potty training, and they got it really quickly, and now I feel like I've damaged them. And like, no, they obviously were fine and they were happy with it. So yeah, we all fail our children every day, and none of us do things perfectly, do we, either? I always say, you know, the government guidelines are for, you know, exercising. How much is it? I don't do that. And certainly I probably don't eat quite what I should. I try to, though, and I know what it is and I know why. So we make decisions. Right. There is some research about what makes a good parent educator. I'm doing Closing the Bones, in case none of you have seen Closing the Bones. That's what we're doing there, is Closing the Bones. We're doing it as a group ceremony, which I've done a blog about that recently. So I can send it to you, or you can find it on my website. There is some research about parent educators, and this is what they found, that it is helpful if parent educators are empathic and warm, respectful and encouraging, non-critical, flexible, we've talked about that, able to see the funny side, enthusiastic and happy in the role of non-expert. And I think that's really crucial as well, because a lot of us often feel that we need to be the expert, we need to stand out and be the one that know more than everybody else. But actually, we got people that come to your groups very knowledgeable, and obviously they're the most knowledgeable about their own child and about their own body and about themselves. If they have they may likely be more knowledgeable than you if they have specific conditions. So being happy to be non-expert and giving them that role in themselves and their lives. Oh, I thought I had another. Oh, I've jumped a whole load. There we are. That's where we were. I don't know why we jumped. So this is, see, I think that sounds like you, because I think this is probably you. So I think you probably are a good facilitator already. So you don't need to be a great facilitator, just like you don't need to be a great parent. You only need to be a good one. That's all you need. Good is enough. Some of you already done training with me. These are the antenatal things that I'm training. I haven't started doing the VBAC one. That will be next year now. and they're the postnatal ones. If I'm giving you an offer code today, because I'm proper business person and this is what you do your free thing and then you offer the people a discount code. So if you want to do training with me, oh, I've got to extend, I should extend the thing. I think the boost code I put to end on the 31st, so I'm not that good at doing it. But if you use the boost code, boost 50, will knock £50 off the training. If you do one training with me, your next one is discounted by £50 anyway. Oh, bye. Oh, Joe, she's gone by. So yes, I will send you a link so you can have a look at the training. And that's it. And we're done. Stop share. I hope you found that useful. I'm going to take it off, stop recording.